Welcome to another off-season edition of Giants Roundup. Actually, it's not off-season anymore. Spring training is here, and the Giants are currently 0-2 in spring training. And tonight we are going to preview the AL Central. We've got some signings, and today the Giants lost to the Cubs 9-6. Yesterday they lost to the Angels 10-3. Mike Gerber goes 1 for 3. Ryan Howard 1 for 2. Chris Stratton, not the greatest of games, 27 pitches. Ty Block, 2 innings strong. And Travis Bergen. And Madison Bumgarner, not a good game today. 6 earned in his first game in spring training. But as I say, it's only spring training, so it's only the first game, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that. Now on to the signings for this week. The Milwaukee Brewers, saw that. Cleveland Indians signed Tyler Clippard to a 1-year $1.75 minor league $1 million contract, a minor league contract for Tyler Clippard. And then one of the big dominoes fall, and we'll be going to the Friars. That is one Manny Machado, who takes a 10-year, $300 million contract. And he will be the face of the San Diego Padre franchise. He will join Eric Hosmer, and he will likely play the hot corner for the San Diego Padres. This is I think a little bit of an overpayment, but I think Machado's power should do just fine at Petco Park, who they've brought the fences in the past 2 years, so it's a lot more hittable at Petco Park than what it used to be. But now if the Padres actually want to contend in 2019, now that their next likely target's going to have to be Dallas Keuchel. And can they get Dallas Keuchel? And they need to get Dallas Keuchel because they need now some starting pitching to support a lot of these bats next year in San Diego with Hosmer and Machado. But I think at this point, San Diego is not in contention at this point. But yes, Manny Machado is now a Friar. Then Minnesota Twins go in and they swipe a 2-year contract for $21 million for Marwin Gonzalez, a versatile utility player for the Astros. Now will be playing at a lot more pitcher-friendly Target Field in Minnesota. This is a good signing. But this is not a bad lineup, as we will get later on. We'll start talking about the Twins and the AL Central, but he's definitely going to be a big help for them. And then the White Sox signed Irvin Santana to a minor league contract. And at least he has a veteran presence in the White Sox rotation. And I don't think they're done yet, even though they're going to miss out on power hitting. Like, I could see the White Sox maybe making a play for Dallas Keuchel at this point, or Gio Gonzalez before the season starts in Chicago. And then the Detroit Tigers signed Josh Harrison to a 1-year, $2 million contract. And I don't think he will end the season over there in And then Hanley Ramirez signs to a minor league contract with the Cleveland Indians today. And a signing that could likely become official as of tomorrow, Bryce Harper going for a 10-year, $330 million contract with the Philadelphia Phillies. This is a tentative deal as of right now. It's not official. But it is certainly looking like that. It's certainly looking like the Bryce Harper sweepstakes are about to end with Bryce Harper going to Philadelphia. It can be made official as early as tomorrow. We shall find out. And he will be definitely a good fit in Philadelphia. Put him with JT Realmuto. And I think they will be on the hunt for a guy named Craig Kimbrell to close games for the Phillies. Philadelphia definitely had their issues closing games last season. So Kimbrell, even though it will be a little bit of an overpay, will be tasked at this point to try to bring some relief to the late innings in with the Phillies. And as for Giant signings this week, they sign a couple of relievers. Nick Vincent signs to a minor league contract. We'll see how he does. And Fernando Abadu will likely start the first 80 games of the season suspended to a minor league contract. Abad could be that lefty specialist if Steven Okert fails down the stretch. But we shall see what happens with Okert. But Abad will likely be waiting in Sacramento after he serves an 80-game suspension for PEDs. And definitely add some depth to the Giants' AAA system. Now a quick rundown of we're going to do a quick rundown of my preview for the AL Central for this week. We're going to start with my fifth place team. I think it'll be the Detroit Tigers. No more V. Martin Detroit. Chris Ilitch committed hard into a rebuild at this point. This will be year 2 of the Ron Gardenhire regime in Detroit. They're hoping that Miggy Cabrera could maybe show something. It wouldn't be a surprise if Nicholas Castellanos is traded by the middle of the season for the Tigers, as he's brought in a power bat. Daniel Norris could be gone. Michael Fulmer. And, of course, I think Detroit would love nothing more to see Jordan Zimmerman pitch well enough to get himself traded out of Detroit. But I think they're going to finish in dead last with 90 to 100 losses this year. My fourth place team will be the Kansas City Royals. Another team that is rebuilding at this point. I think they would love to see Danny Duffy rebound from a horrific season last year. They've got some guys in the bullpen they could flip for prospects by the deadline with Brad Boxberger. I think they got one other guy there along with Boxberger. And, of course, Willie Peralta, starter, converted to closer. So Kansas City, I don't see them contending anytime soon. I think their best hope is Duffy can rebound this year. That way they can get some prospects back for Danny Duffy. And, of course, they'd love to see Alex Gordon swing the bat a bit better this year. My third place team, as of right now, unless they make a big signing or acquisition, is the Chicago White Sox. This has kind of been a lackluster offseason for the White Sox. They've been looking for the big fish. They are going to miss out on both Harper and Machado. Maybe they go out and get Dallas Keuchel. I don't know if they'll get land Keuchel or not. Maybe they go get Gio Gonzalez. But don't be surprised if Jose Abreu gets traded out of Chicago by the middle of the year. Rick Renteria could be a lame duck this year in Chicago. But I don't see anything but maybe. But they need to start. They don't need to win the division, but they do need to start trending up in the win total this year. And they would love to get some wins out of Lucas Giolito this year. And just give the White Sox some hope. But I think third place is where they're going to be. They might lose. But I think they're going to improve on the win total a bit. You'll see more prospects up at the White Sox. But it'll be another year till the Southsiders are anywhere near being contenders. Second place team, I think they've gotten themselves in a nice spot to maybe be in the wild card hunt this year, is the Minnesota Twins. You've got Jose Barrios in the rotation. You've got Kyle Gibson. And Barrios definitely looking like an ace in the rotation. You've got and of course Kyle Gibson coming off a really good season. You got Michael Pineda, Jake Odorizzi, who's looking to bounce back from a horrendous season. And then Adalberto Mejia, Francisco Romero, all competing for that 5 spot. But you got a nice batting order this year in Minnesota with all the signings and trades they've made. You got Byron Buxton in the outfield, Matt Kepler. Jonathan Shoup is a great pickup by the Twins. Miguel Sano. But I think Minnesota, they will definitely be. I don't think they're good enough yet to make a run for the AL Central. They could potentially give the Indians a run for their money, but I think the wild card is a lot more realistic for the Twins this year if all things go right. And my first place team for the year for the Central will be the Cleveland Indians. They've still got a great rotation. They've still got some good bats. The bullpen is a bit weaker with the losses of Cody Allen. And Andrew Miller. That is going to sting. They'd like to see more consistency out of Brad Hand this year. But I think, though, that still Cleveland will have enough to win the division for the 4th straight year in a row. And that will conclude it for this week. Next week will be the AL West preview. It was a little quick of a show tonight. I am just getting done watching the Oscars. I get ready for bed. And it's just kind of been a quiet week other than the Machado signing. But I'm just abbreviated show tonight. We'll be back next Sunday to talk about the AL West and how Oakland could do. And everybody have a good night and peace.